mic now. Go ahead.
My name is Katina. They call me Kay. My coming out story is not really that interesting to me, but I'm sure it can help somebody out. I am the grand old age of 44. I came out to myself at the age of 35. I've been in marriage to a man. I guess you would say that I was that typical, what people would say the typical, oh, he hurt you type of situation where there are men would hurt you, go be dating boys. And it really wasn't like that. I've always dated and liked women, but I never was clear with it for myself. I never accepted myself. I never accepted what people would say about the gay community, you know? And we all probably have felt it and felt it before. But finally, at the age of 35, I said, I'm going to do me. I'm going to be happy with me. I'm about to cry. Because I was happy knowing that I was doing something that I wanted to do. And it wasn't about the whole being a lesbian and the lesbian sex and, you know, what people think that's all we do. But it was about accepting me for who I am, finally coming into what and who I am as a woman who just loves women. I'm not ashamed of it. At one point I was. Told my mother, and she said, well, you know, I always wanted grandkids. I said, since when? That means when I was a kid, I don't remember you even thinking about it. But now I'm happy to the point where I finally found someone who loves me, and I love her. I've been through a lot of stuff, a lot of relationships that just kind of went to the wayside. I didn't quite know what I was doing, but now I have a better grasp on it at the grand old age of 44, almost 45. So ultimately, my story kind of stems around just accepting myself and not really giving a damn what other people say. And I would say to the younger version of myself, to just be who you are. It's going to take time to find out who you are. It'll take time for people to accept you for who you are. But if they don't, screw them. It is what it is. And I'm happy being a gay woman. Yes.
All right, so my name is Nicole, and everyone who knows me, they might call me Nikki, or Nikki B. I am West Indian, and for me, my coming out story is a little bit different because I've always known that I like girls, always knew that I like girls, but for some reason it was just kind of, you discuss it amongst your friends, you don't have to tell your parents, and my parents were my biggest fear because in the West Indian culture it's just not accepted. So at the end of the day, when I was in 4th grade, we moved to a suburban town and it was just more relaxed. And that was when I fell for like my best friend, and after that it was kind of like, okay, I think I like this way more than talking to guys. And then when I finally got the opportunity to go to college, I could not wait to live on campus because that was my freedom road. Away from my parents, away from judgment, away from fear. So I think that my coming out time frame was definitely in 2008. 2008 was my first year in college, and I met the right people. I was surrounded. It's so great it's easy to come out when you have the support and you see people that are just like you. So in 2008, I was literally free. However, I still wasn't free enough to tell my parents. And then a couple of years go by, I'm dating men, I'm dating women, but I'm never bringing the women home. So, but when I got sick one year, one of the girls that I was talking to actually came to my house, and my father was just like, I see the type of girls that's coming by. Is there something you want to tell me? And deep down I feel that he already knew, but it was just a matter of, you know what, at this point I'm not even living under your roof anymore. What do I have to fear? So yes, I am. And I still wasn't bringing anyone home. And then I finally met my partner five years ago. And at that point, it's like, why would I keep somebody that makes me feel so great in the closet? I've dated men, and they have not amounted to the amount of love that I get from the person that I was destined to be with. So I was like, yeah, I'm taking you to meet my parents. And we were in Atlanta, and my dad said it again, like, is there something you want to tell me? I said, yes, I am gay, and I have nothing else to tell you. Like, I have nothing else, no other worries. And after that, he was like, I just didn't know. It's okay for other children, but I just didn't want it to be mine. And after that, I just said, well, if that's really how you feel, especially with religion playing a heavy part in my family, I just said, it's a hypocrisy.
Absolutely.
It's a hypocrisy. So when I realized I didn't have anything else to prove to anyone else, I'm living my best life, and we just celebrated our 3-year anniversary, and we're accepted by those that love us.
Right.
And now I'm happy. And the stress level and your health level, literally, like, I was wondering why I was always so sick. And ever since I started accepting who I was, less time in the hospital, less time getting checked up. Yeah.
No medication for me. Just straight drinking water.
You see, and it's true. It's like when you're happy, your health is happy. And that was my story. Oh, babe, now I'm all emotional. All right, so my name is Jewel Palmer. I am from Elizabeth, New Jersey, Woodbridge, New Jersey, back to Elizabeth, a little bit of Northern Patterson. I'm a New Jersey nomad. And now I'm in Maryland with all these beautiful souls. I'm a hip hop humanitarian. I am a poet. I'm a community change agent. And I have always found myself giving myself to the world, to others. Baby, you don't like that. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So essentially for me, like, I used to think down memory lane. I wish I went before you. So for me, my story is heavy because I come from a very large supportive family. So similar to like my girlfriend just gave you like the whole rundown of us knowing each other for 5 years and us like, having like this positive relationship. And I actually have an older sister that is gay. So a lot of people thought that because I had an older sister that's gay, it would be easier for me to come out, And so for me, I'm like, I have parents who have expectations. They were disappointed about, like the first coming out in my family. So I definitely didn't think it was going to be any easier for me. So I come from like the typical American Black soul food family, cookouts, parties, fun, happiness, that style, that life. But we know what the expectations are. We know how your grandmother wants you to live. We know how your mother and your father want you to live as much as they love you. So essentially, once I came out, like, I was very reserved because I already have a sibling that is out, and I saw how it played out for her. Took a long time, but my parents love her unconditionally. So I knew that for me, I kind of saw what my role was going to look like, and it was as hard as I expected it to be. And it was just, you can rub me now. And it was just so much harder because I never felt non-acceptance from my family. Like, I'm like a daredevil. Skydive, explore the world. I backpacked 21 and 22 years old by myself in Europe and Asia. So I'm like the thrill seeker. I am the random one. So I didn't see me coming out. I didn't see me coming out as being a bad thing. I really thought my mom and my family was going to be happy for me. I really thought they were going to tell me to live my best life, and they did not. They wanted me to live their version of my best life, not my version of my best life. And so I had to make my mind up, like, do I want to be happy? Because it really was a deep point where I considered, it was genuinely a deep point when I considered, like, going back and saying, as much as I love you, as much as I want to be in this, it's too hard. It is too hard to give up your family momentarily and to give up what you know as normalcy, and normalcy for something that you hope is going to work out because of how it currently feels. And because we didn't grow up with images of, lesbian and gay relationships on TV, there was no one to model after. There was no one to make you feel sane and okay and great. So essentially for me, like, I did have to make my mind up, like, is it going to be me making others happy, or is it going to be me making myself happy? And it's literally learning about how to be selfish. It's literally learning about how to gain your own happiness through focusing on self-centering yourself and supporting yourself. So until you support yourself, you can't get that support from anyone else. And my girlfriend has been a pioneer and a champion of our relationship, who has made me, you know, want to fight the battle and want to fight the fight, to advocate not only for our relationship amongst our family members, but to advocate for other queer artists and queer performers, and, you know, LGBTQ, especially LGBTQ people of color as well, where it's not spoken of. So I would just like to say thank you to my wife for being the champion of our relationship, because it has created a positive ripple effect. And when people see that you're gonna love each other regardless, I think my friends and my family realized they were missing out on something special. Because after I made my mind up that I'm gonna love my woman and we're gonna have a great life, all of my friends and my family began to come back around. Even my friends that didn't have a problem with the gayness of my relationship, they just had a problem with me being in a relationship. So I was dealing with different levels of issues and just a typical relationship, and then on a family level of a gay relationship. But after me making my mind up but being committed to my relationship and my wife and our life, everything else and everyone else fell into place. And that's my story.
I guess it's my turn. Oh, Lord. Hi, my name is Corey Hunt. I'm a drag performer here in Baltimore, Maryland. I live here. I've lived here all my life. I'm going on 25 years old. My name is Viola B. Knight by night. This is how it goes. When I came out, it was hard. I wanted to come out when I was in high school, but I was afraid. Everybody just calls you faggot. You just have to worry about all the pressuring, all that, living with that for the rest. Like, you just think high school is just forever, and it just feels like it's forever, but it's not. I came out after high school. I lost everyone. I lost my family. The only one I had was my boyfriend for like 7 years, and we've been going strong now. But it takes a while for family, because growing up in a Christian home, it's hard for them to get rid of, I wouldn't say get rid of them, because I don't want to make like any accusations, but it's hard to put somebody like your own son before somebody else. It's like why? But it takes a while. I finally have my mom back in my life and my grandmother, and we're doing good. They've been to a couple shows. But losing your family, that's what hurts you the most. It's like, why? Like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? But I wanted to be happy. I didn't want to not be happy, because I would have ended up being miserable. And I've tried committing suicide a couple times, but it's what you do, and you move on, and you toughen up, and just keep going. Just keep going.
I think the one thing that interests the whole thing is that the whole acceptance thing from my, because I see I'm the oldest one on the panel today. It's okay. But I mean, because you guys are so young, 25 and under 30, I would say. I think the one thing that's really interesting is that no matter what the vein is, acceptance of yourself. You know, you, like you said, you contemplated suicide. I did the same thing for different reasons, but I just was not comfortable with what was going on with me as a younger person, and the acceptance of what was going on, and blaming myself for things that I had no control over. And then at the same time, with your situation, with your family, supporting you but not supporting you. I came out at such an older age. At that point, I should not have cared about what anybody thought about me. But I was still that little girl trying to please my mom, please my stepdad. And I was like, you know what, I can't do it anymore. So I'm just going to go into my little hole. And I took 2 or 3 years for myself to find out where I was. In that time, I went back and got my 2nd degree. Now I have my 3rd degree. And I'm about to retire from my, I had to find myself at a late age. And I give kudos to any of the younger generation who has found themselves early, because they're making a foundation for folks after you guys. See, I'm old. I'm not say old, but I mean the fact that I came out older. I came out at an older age, so I had to kind of find it in the middle. You are in this generation now. There's a lot of stuff on television, like you said, there wasn't at one point, but there really is. I mean, just imagine when I was growing up in 1973, when I was born, there was nothing on television that even gave us any indication of what gay was. It couldn't even say pregnant. It had to say having a baby or a child, in the 60s and 70s. Of course, you had the whole sex, rock, and roll type thing, but even still, being a gay person or being a homosexual, or I hate the word faggot, but it's just, I hate a lot of those ugly words give such ugly connotations to what we are or who we are. Does not make you what you are. There's a big difference. those words are so passe and so ugly. And it's, I love the fact that we now have come to a part in our society, not just the gay community, but the whole entire world, society as it were, as it is, to try to accept. It's still a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done. I mean, discrimination is at its height in a lot of corporate America. I work in corporate America, in government, so it's there, but you kind of have to keep yourself in a closet. But I don't care. I mean, I'm not going to go to work with rainbows and unicorns all over me every single day. But at the same time, doing something like this that will possibly be seen by people, I really don't care at this point, because I'm secure within myself. And I admire you all, and you, and whomever that has accepted themselves at an early age, or even just accept themselves, period, because it takes a lot to say, you know what, screw the world. I gotta keep moving. Because your world is your world, and you can invite whomever you want into it. And they have to either say or play. Say or play or go away, and that's it. So I give hats off to each of you, every else.
And it's true when you're talking about acceptance, it's like, even though we knew who we wanted to be at an early age, I think that growing up with our family members, like I was saying, like my family, I said there was somebody there from Jamaica, and it's just like, that is just, there's songs that I grew up, the culture is completely different. And I had an expectation, especially since both my parents are immigrants. My mom and dad are separated. So I grew up with like a stepmom who I call mom, and I have a stepdad, you know what I mean? So it's like that whole family vibe was always there. But then like when I told my mom, my mother was just like, as long as you're happy, because she knew what I was going through with my ex at the time for 5 years. It was a terrible relationship, and it was a male that I was dating. And she's just like, as long as you're happy, Nikki. And I thought that when I would tell my father, that it was like, especially since he's always been throwing out hints that, are you, is there something you want to tell me? And the one time I'm saying, yes, you were always right, this is the situation. And he was just like, oh, well, it's, you know, the comment saying, I just wish it wasn't my child. And he even met my partner, and he said, I don't have anything with a problem with you, it's just where I'm from and the culture. And as years go on and as time progresses and you're seeing the movements and you're seeing how our support system for our community has been growing, I just thought the love that you have for your child would supersede that. And even though we have an amazing relationship, sometimes I do have my spells, even though I know who I am and I'm happy and I'm at work and I'm waving my flag, it's just, I still sometimes wish that the support system and the love that I had growing up and the assumptions that they all knew who I was, it's like, just love me differently again. Like, love me the same way, but in a different time frame, and me being my honest and 100% true self. And so, of course, like you said, you have to separate yourself from the people that don't support you. And it's all about support.
And it's hard. It's really hard.
It is.
It's difficult because specifically if you are, I mean, I think in any phase of your life, but I think that we are, this platform and every other platform that comes across it does support the community. If we could all just take that one step and just say, you know what, it's going to be okay. I mean, dealing with the younger generation who has gone through bullying, who has contemplated committing suicide, who is homeless. I mean, I work with these kids, volunteer work, and it's hard to see when they say that their parents don't accept them or their friends don't accept them. And these are babies, like 15, 16-year-old kids. What do you say to them? So you try to give them as much education as possible. But if you're not comfortable with who you are, if you have that homophobic attitude, or if you are super, like I'm in the closet, I like what I like, but I don't want anybody to know. Not saying you have to broadcast it. It's no one's business. However, when it comes to something like this, it's necessary. It's extremely necessary. So radio shows and I implore everyone on this panel and whomever to just kind of take a step back and say, you know, what if it were me?
Yes.
It is ugly. No one wants to face the truth. But if you cannot face yourself every single day in the mirror, and what kind of life do you live in? You know? I mean, how can you go forth with your life not accepting who you are, accepting people for their differences? And we're not different. Because look, me, I mean, you know, and any of us, we fit in our own lane.
If you can't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else?
And that's exactly right. And that's basically where you are, you know? Loving people for who they are and accepting them for who they are if they don't, and let them live their thing, live their life. And it's not up to you to educate, but it does help if they are willing to be educated. Because resistance is hard. It was hard. because you want to kind of give everybody the right act, but you really can't, because they always want to get you.
Right.
Just kind of fall back, you know what, I'm going to do me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me live my gayish life.
Yeah.
Right.
Live my gayish life.
Yeah, absolutely, and the best gayish life.
The best gayish life possible.